The Constitution of India, Preamble. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves this Constitution.
Hi everyone. When I see this vacant benches and desks in front of me, I really miss you all. If you people are here, we will be really happy. I know that you all are missing your teachers, your friends and the school, isn't it? You are missing your beautiful days. But we have no other go. We have to be at home for the sake of our life. But don't worry, at least we can see each other through video calls, isn't it? So don't worry, don't get frustrated, don't get upset about the things, whatever is happening around you. The only thing I want to tell you is, believe in yourself, focus in your studies and your talents, enjoy the days with your parents and siblings, enjoy the virtual classes, be happy always. Then definitely you will be healthy also. Okay, ready? So, we will begin the class. In the previous class, we had discussed about the digestion in stomach and small intestine. Hope you all have understood the concepts that we had discussed in the previous class thoroughly and you have studied it thoroughly. Some of you have sent the homeworks. I saw that, very good. Others also complete the file. Okay. And in the today's class, we will be discussing the absorption, assimilation and the excretion. These are the three stages, remaining stages in the digestive process. Digestion only completed in the small intestine. That doesn't mean that the whole digestive process complete in the small intestine. Only the complex food substances in the food that we eat get transformed into simple absorbable units in the small intestine. Okay, so the nutrients are released in the small intestine and the absorption begins in the small intestine. Already you know that, isn't it? So now we are going to discuss on how far the structure of small intestine is suitable for the absorption of nutrients. So you can see here the structure of small intestine. In this you can see many foldings and many coils, isn't it? Because of this particular structure, food moves very slowly through the small intestine. So what is the advantage of that? That ensures the maximum absorption of nutrients from the small intestine. So in order to make the absorption of nutrients more easier, small intestine has some specialized features in it. And these special features or structures are known as villi and they are seen in the walls of the small intestine. They look like fingers. These villi are finger-like projections seen on the walls of the small intestine. You can see this in the video. These villi are exactly look like fingers. isn't it? So they are finger-like projections seen in the walls of small intestine, and these villi increases the surface area of absorption of nutrients, and it increases the rate of absorption to a great extent within the small intestine. That means villi increases the surface area of the small intestine so that maximum absorption of nutrients will take place in the small intestine. Now let us discuss the structure of villus. Villus is singular, villi is plural. Clear? So this is the structure of villus. Okay, the outer membrane or the villus is covered by a single layer of cells, and along with that you can see here the inside the villus, blood capillaries and lymph capillaries, that is lacteals, are also present in the villus. So the outer layer or the outer membrane of villus is made up of single layer of cells, and inside the villus you can see blood capillaries as well as the lymph capillaries. The lymph capillaries seen inside the villus is known as lacteals. Is that clear, all of you? Okay. So the water soluble nutrients like glucose, fructose, galactose and amino acids are absorbed into the blood, and the fatty acid and glycerol are absorbed into the lymph. Why fatty acid and glycerol are not absorbed into blood? Can you assume? Because they are insoluble in water. Okay, only the water soluble substance can be transported through blood, or only they can absorb into the blood, as fatty acid and glycerol, usually fats, lipids, they are insoluble in water, isn't it? So here they are absorbed into the lymph present in the lacteal or lymph of the lacteal. Clear, all of you? So this is how the villi help in the absorption of nutrients from the small intestine. Clear, all of you? Okay. So the absorption of simple nutrients and 90% of water absorption takes place in the small intestine. Okay. So the simple nutrients are absorbed into the blood and lymph through the walls of blood capillaries and lymph capillaries, that is lacteal. So the cells in the blood capillaries and lacteal also play a major role in the absorption of these nutrients. There are certain processes working behind the movement of molecules in and out of the cell. So now we are going to discuss on the absorption process. With the help of which process the nutrients are absorbed into the villus. This is what now we are going to discuss on. There are 4 absorption processes. They are simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, osmosis and active transport. These are the absorption process through which the simple nutrients are absorbed into the villus from the small intestine. So the absorption of simple nutrients from the small intestine take place along and against the concentration gradient. Simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and osmosis are the movements of molecules from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. As these processes take place, along and against the concentration gradient, energy is not required. So first we'll discuss on simple diffusion. So I told you these processes take place along or against the concentration gradient, isn't it? So in the case of simple diffusion, you can see here the molecules, they move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. So this is the region of higher concentration and this is the region of lower concentration. And the molecules move from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. You can see here a barrier, a membrane, isn't it? This membrane is a semi-permeable membrane, which means it allows only certain molecules to pass through it. Okay, so the simple diffusion is a process by which the molecules move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. And how long this process will continue? This process will continue till the concentration becomes equal in both the sides. When the concentration becomes equal in both sides, this process will stop. Clear? So the absorption of fatty acid glycerol from the small intestine to the villus take place by simple diffusion. And even without a semi-permeable membrane, also simple diffusion will take place. That is, you know that when we use perfumes or when somebody use flowers, we get the fragrance of the flowers or perfumes very fast, isn't it? That means here the gas molecules move by the simple diffusion or they diffuses. Understood? So here there is no semi-permeable membrane. And I'll tell you one more example. You know that in the lungs, the gaseous exchange, that is the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide takes place in the lungs, and here also the oxygen from the lungs diffuses into the blood, and from the blood carbon dioxide diffuses into the lungs. You can see it here. This is also an example for simple diffusion. And I'll show you one more thing, that is the spreading of ink in water is also an example of simple diffusion. I'll show you that. Okay. So you can see here a beaker and water is there inside the beaker. Now I'm going to pour some ink and some few drops of ink into this water. You can see how the ink is spreading in the water. See how it is spreading in the water, and this is also diffusion. The ink molecules spread in the water. This is also simple diffusion only. Here also there is no semi-permeable membrane. Is that clear, all of you? So that's all about simple diffusion, and now we are going to discuss on facilitated diffusion. Some molecules move with the help of protein molecules in the cell membrane, and this is called facilitated diffusion. But in the case of facilitated diffusion also, the molecules move from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. And this process is also along with the concentration gradient, so energy is not required here. Okay, so the absorption of glucose, the simple units or simple nutrients like glucose, fructose, galactose and amino acids into the blood capillaries are examples of facilitated diffusion. Clear, all of you? Now we will move on to the next topic, that is osmosis. Osmosis is the movement of water molecules. You know that water molecules always move from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. And this is also along the concentration gradient only taking place. That is from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. So, osmosis is specially meant for water molecules in human beings, in living beings. Okay. So, when you hear about or when you see osmosis, immediately the water should come in your mind because it is specially meant for the movement of water molecules. Okay. So, these three processes, simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and osmosis, they in these three cases the movements of molecules take place along the concentration gradient. So, energy is not utilized in these three processes. Okay. And now we are going to discuss on the next absorption process, that is active transport. In some instances, the absorption of molecules take place against the concentration gradient. Here the nutrients are absorbed from the region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration by utilizing energy and with the help of carrier proteins, and this process is known as active transport. When the concentration of glucose and salts decreases in the small intestine, active transport take place, and this ensures the maximum absorption of salt and glucose to the blood without any loss. That means with the help of active transport, the whatever nutrients, glucose, salt, whatever is there in the small intestine, even if it is very less amount, that also will be absorbed into the blood without any loss. So, that is all about active transport. So, in the case of active transport, it is against the concentration gradient. That means here the molecules move from a region of lower concentration to the region of higher concentration. That means when the nutrients are less or their level is decreased in the small intestine, in that situation active transport take place. That is, if glucose or salt are decreased in the small intestine, with the help of active transport, the glucose and salt enter the blood without any loss. Hope it is clear. So, now we discussed simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, osmosis and active transport. Simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion and osmosis are along the concentration gradient it take place and energy is not utilized, but active transport is against the concentration gradient and energy is utilized and also with the help of carrier protein molecules this process take place. So, one question is there just below this content. You are asked to write the similarities and differences of these process. So, you have to listen to the video as well as read the content in the textbook and you have to answer those questions. Okay. Now, we will move on to the next topic. So, you understood how does absorption of nutrients take place in the small intestine. It is taking place with the help of villi in the small intestine. Now, how our body utilizes these nutrients, that is assimilation. See, these nutrients are transported to various parts of our body through the blood and our cells utilize these nutrients for producing energy, and that process is known as assimilation. Our body utilizes the nutrients present in the food that we eat, and that is assimilation, and the last process is excretion. Okay, so in the small intestine, the digestion and the absorption process completed, and rest of the leftover food, the undigested food, that moves to the large intestine. Okay, here you can see here from the small intestine the food moves to the large intestine, and inside the large intestine the water, most of the 90% of water in the food will absorb in the small intestine. Rest of the water and salt will be absorbed into the blood from the large intestine, and there are many bacteria residing in the large intestine, and some of these bacteria are useful for our body. That is, these bacteria synthesize vitamin K. So the absorption of vitamin K also take place in the large intestine. Okay, now whatever substances are useful for the body from the food, everything will be absorbed in the large intestine and the small intestine. Then the rest of the undigested food, we can call it a semi-solid fecus. This moves to the last part of the digestive tract, that is rectum, and there it temporarily stores and finally discharged out through the anus, and that is known as excretion. Clear, all of you? The process of digestion is completed through various complex processes that take place in the digestive tract, and it takes 4 to 5 hours to complete the digestive process. So it is very important to leave a regular interval of time between each meal. That means if we take our breakfast at 8 o'clock, we have to leave at least 4 hours. That is, after 12 o'clock or 12:30 only we have to eat the lunch, and after lunch also we have to take a regular interval. That is, at least after 4 hours only we have to eat the next meal. If in between, if we are eating food, what will happen? It will be a burden for the digestive system, because already we have taken the food and that food has not digested completely, and on the top of that, if we are again eating food, what will happen? The digestion, the process of digestion or our digestive system will have to work very hard, isn't it? That will definitely affect the health of our digestive system. So we have to leave, or there should be regular interval of time between each meal, and it is very important to eat healthy food. Then only our body as well as our digestive system also will be healthy. Okay, so now it's a time to clarify the doubt raised by Adityan. See, actually we begin the chapter with a question, isn't it? That is, the plants prepare their own food, and their own food, that is glucose, and they do not have a digestive system, but we receive food from plants, and we, in the sense human beings, have a digestive system. So why plants do not have a digestive system and why we have a digestive system? Now you have understood the answer, isn't it? Because you know that digestion is the process in which the complex food substances break down and become simple absorbable units. So in the case of plants, what is the food they prepare? It is glucose. It is already in the simple form. So no need of further digestion. So they do not need a digestive system. But what about our case? This glucose is stored in different forms in different plants. So when we eat plant food items, we get starch, protein, fat, etc. They are in the complex form. So our body is not able to absorb these complex nutrients directly. So definitely they have to digest. That is why we have a digestive system and plants do not have a digestive system. Hope it is clear, isn't it? Now you can see a graffiti here. It is given in the textbook also. Graffiti means a message conveying through pictures and wordings, and which is specially doing on the walls. അതായത് ചുമരുകളിലൂടെ നിങ്ങൾ കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവും അല്ലേ, പല മെസ്സേജസും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ എഴുതുന്നത് ചിത്രങ്ങളിലൂടെയും എഴുത്തുകളിലൂടെയൊക്കെ അല്ലേ, അതിനെയാണ് ഗ്രാഫിറ്റി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ഓക്കെ, സോ യു ക്യാൻ സീ എ ഗ്രാഫിറ്റി ഇൻ ദ ടെക്സ്റ്റ് ബുക്ക്. ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ ഗ്രാഫിറ്റി and many things have been written in that graffiti. Okay, so it is mainly about the food that we eat only, isn't it? It is about fiber. We have the importance of including fiber in the daily diet. Then to avoid junk food and fast food. Then what is the third point? Health matters more than taste. So these are the three key points written on that graffiti, isn't it? So actually when we discuss about the food components, the fiber is also a very important food component only. Even if our food digestive system is not able to digest the fibers present in the plants, it plays a major role in the absorption of nutrients as well as easy defecation. That means these fibers will help to expel the waste formed in the digestive system, and also it makes the digestive system healthy. So it is very important to include fiber contained food items in our daily diet. The fruits, the cereals, all and the vegetables, all these food items contain fibers. So it is very important to include fiber contained food items in our daily diet to make the digestive system more healthy. Then the next one is to avoid junk food and fast food. Everybody like junk food and fast food. Even I also like some of the junk foods and fast food. But it should not be a habit. What is a habit? We are doing it every day, isn't it? So we should not eat junk food and fast food every day. I am not promoting you to eat junk food and fast food, but we all like it, isn't it? You all like this packet food items, parota, then burger, samosa, all those things everybody like. Once in a while if we eat this junk food, it will not create much problem. But if we eat it daily, that is what I told you, it should not be a habit. Habit brushing is a habit. നമ്മൾ എല്ലാ ദിവസവും ചെയ്യും. പക്ഷേ ഇത് നമ്മൾ ഒരു നമ്മുടെ ഹാബിറ്റ് ആക്കാനായിട്ട് പാടില്ല. എല്ലാ ദിവസവും നമ്മൾ ഈ പറയുന്ന പാക്കറ്റ് ഫുഡും അതേപോലെ ഈ ജങ്ക് ഫുഡ്സും കഴിച്ചാൽ definitely that will affect our digestive system, because these junk foods and fast food contains many chemical substances, many colors are adding in that. You have learned in 7th standard, isn't it? And these are not good for our health, and salt as well as sugar, saccharin is adding. These are not at all good for our health. All these are excess in these kind of food items. So our body does not require any things in excess. Only the required amount only our body needs. So it is better to avoid junk food and fast food, because if we consume it regularly, definitely that will lead to many diseases like cancer, diabetes, hypertension, obesity, etc. So for a healthy life, it is better to avoid junk food and fast food. The next one is health matters, not taste. Everybody go behind the taste, isn't it? If it is not tasty, we will not like to eat it. But the important is not for taste, it is for health. If we go behind taste, we will not be healthy. Some food items may not be much tasty, but that improves our health, isn't it? Your mother may prepare bitter gourd or different kinds of vegetables, isn't it? But majority of you like potato fry because it is tastier. But if we go behind the taste, what will every day if you are eating only fried items, definitely you will lose your health. So your mother know what is good for your health. That is why she prepares leafy vegetables, one day leafy vegetables, one day bitter gourd, all those things, vegetables, all those things. She knows what is good for you. Okay, but you most of the time you people will be telling it is not tasty, I won't eat it, I don't like it. At least today onwards, don't say all those things. Whatever your mother prepares, it is good for your health. Even if it is not tasty, no problem, that will definitely improve your health. So my dear children, don't go behind taste. You need health because you are the citizens, future citizens. You are going to build the nation, isn't it? So you should get health through the food that you eat. It is very, very important. Understood? So we are going to wind up the chapter. So this chapter you have learned the digestive process that you have to study. Along with that, you have to be very careful about your health because our body is building by the food that we eat. We are getting the strength, everything from the food that we eat. So it is very important that you have to make sure that the food that you eat is quality food items. Understood? Especially nowadays, diseases are spreading everywhere, isn't it? And it is rainy season, there are chances to spread many diseases. So if you want to be healthy, you have to eat good food items, quality food items. And one more thing, in a strong body, in a healthy body only, a healthy mind will be there. In the beginning of this chapter, I told you that. Okay, so be healthy, be safe at home. Okay, be happy always. If you are mentally and physically strong, no diseases will attack you. Okay, so I hope you all have understood the concepts we have discussed in the whole chapter. So once again, go through all the videos and go through the chapters, read the chapter, and if you have any doubt in any point, call me and I'll clarify your doubts. So draw the figures that I have mentioned while taking the class in the file and write all the indicators. These indicators are the questions. You have to write it in the file and write the answers also. Let us assess is also there. So find out the answers for let us assess and write it in the file. Study the chapter thoroughly. It is very, very important. Okay, and the enzymes and reactions are there. So when you study the enzymes and reactions, you connect it and study. That is salivary amylase, pancreatic amylase. So this amylase or this enzyme always reacts with the starch. So if you keep that in your mind, whenever you see amylase, easily you can connect it to the starch. Similarly, the protein, pepsin, trypsin, like that it is, isn't it? So it is very easy to connect it. So when you study like that, it is easy to recollect the enzymes with which nutrient it reacts, what is the product. It is very easy for you. Okay, and So this chapter is over. So we will meet in the next class. Until then, it is your Maya teacher signing off.